てしまえば。どう？ Jesus Christus, praise be Jesus Christ. Now, this is the live broadcast of Pope Leo's visit to the headquarters of the World Food Program here in Rome. There is a bit of a delay, and in a few moments we will actually have Pope Leo at the World Food Program headquarters here, so stay with us. Laudetur Jesus Christus, praise be Jesus Christ. And welcome to this live broadcast of Pope Leo XIV's visit to the headquarters of the World Food Program, or WFP, in Rome, ahead of the annual session of the WFP Executive Board, which will take place from the 23rd to the 26th of June. As we can see, Pope Leo has just arrived at the headquarters. My name is Kelsey Gussie, and I'll be providing the English language commentary and translations for this event. From wherever you're joining us, I would like to welcome you, and to all of you joining us through all of our media partners, EWTN TV, Shekinah News India, Catholic Faith Network in America, Salt and Light TV, Catholic Faith Network in America, Shalom World Television Networks USA, Admiration TV, and Catholic TV. A very special welcome to all of you. And again, as we see, Pope Leo has just arrived at the WFP headquarters here in Rome and is stopping now in front of the memorial wall. And this is a memorial wall where he's offering a bouquet of flowers to all the staff members of the World Food Program, who have been a part of it over the years. Remembering those people, those staff members who have dedicated their lives to the service of those in need, the hungry poor, as the plaque reads. And the people with Pope Leo's Monsignor Fernando Chica Arayano, the permanent observer of the Holy See at FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, Ms. Cindy McCain, former executive director, Mr. Carl Scau, executive director, and Ms. Carla Barroso, as Pope Leo makes his way through the WFP building. Just a little bit about the WFP as Pope Leo heads towards greeting some of the other invited ministers. The World Food Program has a presence in over 120 countries and territories. They provide food and other assistance to people affected by sudden and ongoing emergencies, but at the same time they provide governments with the support and skills to manage food security in the long term. WFP won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2020 in recognition of the strong advocacy they have for the critical role of peace in ending hunger and for the use of food as a tool for peace. Now, the WFP reported that the year 2026 is one of unrelenting humanitarian needs, mainly driven by escalating conflicts and weather-related and economic shocks. This means extreme jeopardy for millions of people around the world struggling to feed their families. And while global humanitarian needs are skyrocketing, funding is failing to keep pace. The WFP says this has forced them and other organizations to scale back assistance and refocus on the most severe needs.
I think Spanish is one of them, Italian and English. So that's
But the WFP responds to emergencies caused by conflicts, climate shocks, economic slumps, pandemics, and other disasters, and they help coordinate responses to large-scale emergencies on behalf of the wider humanitarian community as a lead agency of the logistics cluster and the emergency telecommunications cluster.
Staff, they're outside waiting to have this, as you can see in the streaming here. It's a hot, hot day. It really is.
Each day, the World Food Program can have up to 5,000 trucks, 80 aircrafts, and 20 ships on the move, delivering food and other assistance to people around the world. And so the work that the WFP provides in these more than 100 countries and territories is essential for so many people around the world.
I was here, I think it was June 2016, when Pope Francis came along, and I was sitting at my desk in the Red Tower and looking out to
As those of you who have the images on your screen, you can see the room where Pope Leo will meet with the ministers of WFP from around the world, each with their country name tag, showing and representing the places where WFP works.
And here you can see the flags there, which shows the World Food Program, and you can see the Vatican flag there as well.
And the United Nations flag in the middle.
Yes. So we're back to staff again. I can see you all looking there, looking at this. Give me a little wave. Yeah, that's great, excellent. And I think
Now, other areas where the WFP works is with climate change, and they work with governments and humanitarian partners to respond to an increasing number of weather-related disasters, which can destroy crops, disrupt markets, and destroy infrastructure, such as roads and bridges, which are parts of human life which are necessary day-to-day life. And at the same time, the organization takes preemptive action, including restoring degraded ecosystems that serve as shields against disasters. This includes anticipatory action programs that allows families to buy food, reinforce their homes, and take other steps that are needed to build resilience ahead of disasters. So the WFP doesn't just work after the fact, but ahead of these disasters or weather-related incidents to help prepare people to be ready for these.
Countries where we work very well.
Well, he's certainly travelled, hasn't he, Rebecca? And to have that kind of travel and experience.
In 2025, last year alone, the WFP provided 10.3 million people with financial protection from these different climate hazards.
So, as again, we will just remind that he's signing the book and writing a wonderful message in that book. Hopefully we'll get to find out. I don't know if we'll be able to find out what was actually written, but it's a very defining moment.
As you just heard, Pope Leo is taking some time with the executive director and signing the Book of Honor ahead of his meeting with all these ministers at the WFP.
What's the background of Pope Leo? He was actually born in Chicago.
That's right.
He was born in Chicago, and from there, he joined the Augustine order. And the fact that his background is in mathematics and philosophy. And canon law. Yeah,
That's right. He went to Villanova University and worked in his early years in Peru from 1985 as a missionary.
Pope Leo's visit to the World Food Program headquarters here in Rome also makes us think back to 10 years ago when Pope Francis actually met with the director, of the World Food Program as well in Rome. Also ahead of the annual meeting of the executive board. And Pope Francis also took a moment to pray before the memorial wall that we saw Pope Leo offer a bouquet of flowers to. And Pope Francis said, "It is a testimony to the sacrifice made by members of this organization who gave their lives so that in complex and difficult situations, others would not go hungry." The Pope continued, "We remember them best by continuing to fight for the great goal of zero hunger."
What we also got here is we've also got three dignitaries here as well. Her Excellency, you've got
So the mission of providing the basic necessity and right to food, a constant thread in the papacy, and this connection with the WFP, as we see with Pope Leo, Pope Francis, and other popes, promoting care of those who are most in need and those who do not have access to food.
And now we're actually in the street back here in the auditorium where we're kind of tucked away. We've got the information here, so now.
His Holiness emerges from the room, flanked by a former king.
And now as we see Pope Leo making his way through the headquarters of the WFP here in Rome. Another one of the programs that the WFP provides to people around the world is school meal programs. And that is the largest humanitarian, WFP is the largest humanitarian organization which implements these programs dedicated to schools, which provide and improve children's nutrition and health, while also increasing access to potentially life-changing education. So providing two important aspects for children. millions of children around the world.
And here we have Miss Stein, Renal, Hanim. So as you recall,
The WFP is the Secretariat of the School Meals Coalition, together with over 100 governments and more than 150 organizations that are working every day to provide every child around the world with a healthy, nutritious, and school meal by 2030. And last year alone, the WFP provided nutritious school meals, take-home rations, or cash transfers to just over 19 million school children in 63 countries. And now Pope Leo is entering the auditorium with all the different representatives of the countries at the WFP. And now the Pope is watching a video talking about the rise in hunger around the world as millions go to bed without food every night. The video is showcasing the work of the WFP around the world, providing food and support to millions around the world, as we were talking about the different programs they provide.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates. It is with an immense honor.
And now we hear from the
that I
President of the Executive Board of the United Nations World Food Program, Ms. Carla Barroso Carneiro.
Of the World Food Program Executive Board. I also wish to extend a welcome to the delegation accompanying His Holiness, His Eminence Cardinal Pietro Parolin, Secretary of State, His Excellency Monsignor Paolo Rudelli, Substitute for General Affairs of the Secretary of State, His Excellency Paul Richard Gallagher, Secretary for Relations with States, His Excellency Monsignor Petar Radzik, Prefect of the Pontifical Household, and His Excellency Fernando Chica Arellano, Monsignor Fernando, Permanent Observer of the Holy See to the Rome-based agencies. Thank you. Your Holiness, on behalf of the entire diplomatic community engaged with the World Food Program, our colleagues serving in Rome and in the field, and above all, on behalf of all the millions of people the World Food Program assists worldwide, I wish to express our deep appreciation for your gracious presence with us today. We are truly honored that you have accepted to join us and to share your reflections. Your address will undoubtedly inspire and guide our collective efforts and those of the wider international community as we strive towards the shared goal of a world free from hunger. We all know the ambitious goals set by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and we also know that reaching that goal still requires enormous efforts and commitments from the entire global community. As we gathered shortly after the World Refugee Day, we are reminded of the millions of displaced people around the world, for whom the pursuit of peace, dignity, and freedom from hunger remains an urgent daily reality. Their experiences also highlight the importance of addressing the inequalities that too often contribute to instability and conflict. We also recognize the upcoming International Day of Women in Diplomacy on the 24th of June, celebrating the contributions of women to dialogue, cooperation, and peace. We have no doubt that your address today and your continuous message that defeating hunger is a pathway to peace will allow us to further reinforce strong and durable partnerships among all actors in the humanitarian and development community. And we want to express our sincere appreciation and thanks for your invaluable support. It is now my pleasure to give the floor to the former Executive Director, Ms. Cindy McCain, who will introduce His Holiness. Cindy, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see all of you. Your Holiness, it is a great honor and a deeply personal privilege for us to welcome you to the World Food Program. For hundreds of millions of people around the world who go to bed hungry every night, your voice is one, if not the most, powerful on earth. We exist to make sure no one is forgotten. We call for peace. The call for peace has never been more urgent. Hunger and conflict are deeply intertwined. Where wars rage, families starve. Where peace takes hold, communities can feed themselves and reach their full potential. Your tireless advocacy for an end to violence and for the protection of the most vulnerable gives us strength and gives the world hope. We are honored, truly honored, to have your support and your blessing as we carry out this mission together. Your presence here today reminds all of us that feeding the hungry is a moral, sacred imperative, and we all have our part to play. Thank you, Your Holiness, and a very warm welcome. Thank you.
And now we will hear the address from Pope Leo to the World Food Program.
Distinguished authorities, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Her Excellency, Mrs. Cindy McCain, for her kind invitation to address this annual meeting of the Executive Board of the United Nations World Food Program. I greet in particular Mr. Carl Schau, Acting Executive Director, and Her Excellency, Mrs. Carla Barroso Carneiro, President of this important assembly. I extend my greetings to the representatives of the member states, the distinguished guests at this meeting, and the staff of this intergovernmental institution dedicated to saving lives in emergency situations and providing food assistance amid conflicts and natural disasters. Your institution's commitment resonates profoundly with the Catholic Church's mission to uphold human dignity and to foster fraternity rooted in the Gospel's call to love our neighbor. Together, we share the urgent task of confronting hunger and malnutrition, while also tackling the underlying structural causes that sustain them. To meet this task effectively, we must examine the challenges before us, their underlying causes, and the paths toward lasting solutions. Today, crises have evolved from isolated events into persistent realities marked by prolonged conflicts, chronic food insecurity, economic volatility, and growing climate vulnerabilities. This raises a fundamental question. What configuration of the global order is capable of producing, reproducing, and at times normalizing such conditions? The issue is no longer limited to how to intervene. Rather, it extends to understanding why the system constantly produces the very problems it's then forced to correct. The international order has become increasingly fragmented, arising in part from the crisis of the multilateral system. As I noted recently in the encyclical letter, Magnificat Humanitas, I quote, "The institutions established to safeguard the concept of a common future for all peoples and a global common good appear to have been weakened." End of quote. In the absence of a shared ethical horizon capable of sustaining genuine cooperation, the international system has shifted from multilateralism toward a disorderly and conflict-ridden multipolarism with a prevailing sense of mistrust. Consequently, states have increasingly allocated their resources toward national security, economic growth, and domestic stability, disregarding the close link between these issues and multilateral cooperation. This trend reveals a striking paradox. Unprecedented global productive capacity exists alongside expanding zones of extreme vulnerability. The same forces that drive economic growth often exacerbate exclusion and marginalization. Although alleviating human suffering is widely recognized as essential in principle, humanitarian concerns increasingly risk being relegated to a secondary place among international priorities. It is precisely within the gap between acknowledgement in principle and prioritization in practice that we witness the progressive bureaucratization of solidarity alongside the quiet commodification of human life. On one hand, humanitarian action is increasingly burdened by bureaucratic procedures that can delay assistance to those in need. On the other hand, access to essential goods, including food, is too often influenced by economic or strategic considerations. As a result, those who do not generate quantifiable value risk becoming invisible. This twofold dynamic creates a serious ethical challenge. The human person is no longer consistently placed at the center of international action. In this context, it is important to acknowledge that whereas forms of aid and development projects are obstructed by involved and incomprehensible political decisions, skewed ideological visions, and impenetrable customs barriers, weaponry is not. In effect, conflicts are fed more readily than people are nourished. This reality reflects not only operational shortcomings, but also a fundamental imbalance in political and moral priorities. Consequences extend well beyond those immediately affected. More than merely a humanitarian concern, hunger erodes social cohesion, heightens the risk of conflict, and fuels forced migration. Moreover, it undermines the capacity of states and societies to build resilient institutions, provide effective education, and foster sustainable economic development. In doing so, it perpetuates cycles of fragility that ultimately affect the broader international community. From this perspective, it becomes clear that humanitarian action is not extraneous to the international order. Rather, it reflects the global community's responsibility to strengthen solidarity, resist exclusion, and recognize the inherent God-given dignity of every human person. Beyond managing crises, therefore, international institutions embody a principle of shared responsibility and affirm that the international community is bound together by concern for those in the most vulnerable situations. In this sense, the World Food Program is more than a political, economic, or technical actor. It is a concrete expression of international solidarity. Indeed, where national institutions recede and community networks disintegrate, its presence helps to prevent humanitarian crises from deteriorating into irreversible collapse. For this reason, a renewed commitment to multilateral cooperation is essential. In an increasingly fragmented and multipolar world, no single state can address global challenges alone. Lasting peace and integral, sustainable human development are possible only through the participation of all, fostered by genuine international dialogue and cooperation oriented toward the common good. Such an approach requires a firm political will, capable of transcending short-term perspectives and investing in global public goods. This goal can only be achieved through the convergence of effective policies and the coordinated and synergistic implementation of interventions. The call to walk together in fraternal harmony must become the guiding principle. In this spirit, I wish to appeal to the governments and peoples of the world to renew and strengthen their commitment, to increase the resources dedicated to combating hunger and its root causes, and to remove the obstacles that prevent aid from reaching those in need. At the same time, such support should also strengthen engagement with the Church and civil society. Reinforcing the capacities of all these actors together will multiply our collective effectiveness in the fight against hunger. Implementing this appeal effectively requires reducing unnecessary bureaucracy so that transparency and accountability serve people rather than impede assistance. In situations where governments lack effective territorial control or humanitarian access is restricted, trusted local partners become indispensable. The Catholic Church, through parishes, dioceses, Caritas agencies, and other faith-based initiatives, often reaches vulnerable populations in areas inaccessible to international actors. I therefore encourage the World Food Program and its partners to continue supporting these efforts. It is equally important to resist the commodification of basic human needs. Food, water, and healthcare cannot be subordinated to market considerations or geopolitical interests. Access to adequate food is a fundamental human right, grounded in the dignity of every person. Meeting this need not only alleviates suffering, but also addresses underlying causes of geopolitical instability. Indeed, food security is an essential component of global and integral security. In this regard, it is commendable that alongside its emergency response operations, the World Food Program extends its work beyond immediate relief to long-term initiatives, such as programs that provide meals to school children. These investments strengthen education, human development, and social resilience, reflecting an integral vision of human development that promotes dignity, opportunity, and the well-being of the whole person. Your Excellencies, dear friends, what is at stake is not only the effectiveness of an agency, but also the credibility of international cooperation itself. Your organization demonstrates that a renewed path is possible. However, it requires the resolve to simplify what has become overly complex, to prioritize what is essential, and to ensure that no person is forgotten. For this commitment is grounded in the recognition that every human person possesses an inherent and inalienable dignity that remains intact regardless of circumstance, condition, or social status. Rooted in the unconditional and boundless love of God, this dignity can be described as infinite, since nothing can diminish, erase, or deny its value. It is precisely in our fidelity to this truth that the humanity of our politics is measured, and with it, the future of the international community. With these sentiments, I ask God to bless your efforts abundantly so that all may receive their daily bread and live in dignity. Please be assured of my prayers for you, your loved ones, and those whom you serve. Thank you.
And those the words of Pope Leo to the Executive Board of the United Nations World Food Program here in Rome.
Your Holiness, thank you for your words today.
And now this is
What
Acting
you have
Director,
just
Mr.
shared
Carl
with us,
Squaw.
We will carry with us in our daily work here at WFP. Our mission is an expression of international solidarity, a recognition that every person deserves to live in dignity. You have asked us to reflect on the systems that create the challenges that we work to solve, the underlying root causes. Conflicts tear apart the structure that keep food on the table: markets, farms, roads, and trust. From Gaza to Sudan, war has brought people to the brink of famine. From Haiti to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, fighting has prevented the delivery of life-saving aid. From the Sahel to Somalia, conflict is driving farmers from their land. And as you have stated, hunger leaves no room for growth, development, or the prospect of peace. Your message reminds us of our shared moral obligation. Now it falls on all of us to carry this forward. Our teams at WFP, who deliver in the hardest of places, at a time when it has never been more difficult or dangerous to be a humanitarian. Here I would like to ask everyone to keep thinking of our 38 WFP colleagues who are detained in northern Yemen. And it falls on member states whose political and financial support sustain our work. This is the moment to renew our commitment to that duty. So, Your Holiness, we are deeply grateful for your visit. We will now be heading to meet with our staff, and I really would like to thank you all for being with us at this very special occasion for WFP. I would like delegates to please remain while His Holiness departs the room for his engagement with WFP staff. Thank you very much.
And as we just heard from the acting executive director, Mr. Carl Squaw, the Pope is now headed to meet with some of the members of the WFP Executive Board in a different room, but we just think back to the words that Pope Leo spoke in his address to the Executive Board, talking about the crises today that have evolved from simply isolated events to persistent realities that have been marked by prolonged conflicts, chronic food insecurity, and growing climate vulnerabilities. and the Pope raised a fundamental question. What configuration of the global order is capable of producing, reproducing, and at times normalizing such conditions? The Pope answered this by saying the issue is no longer limited to how to intervene. Rather, it has extended to understanding why the system constantly produces the very problems it is then forced to correct.
His Holiness is now heading to Forum A, where he'll connect virtually with a group of our frontline colleagues.
As we're seeing, the Pope has entered a meeting room, and there is a live link with different WFP representatives in various countries. We see 6 people connected online.
Your Holiness, Your Holiness, welcome to this dedicated session with our frontline staff. Your Holiness, your powerful message this morning is a reaffirmation that you pay very special significance to our staff who are working in very dangerous spots around the world. Our frontline staff, some of whom you now see online, work day and night, literally, saving lives and protecting livelihoods, working in places where others dare to go. Now, the representations that you see here today are our staff who are working the front line, from drivers to supply chain, procurement, and those who are leading in crisis management. They represent a cross-section of the regions where we work in different parts of the world, including Venezuela, Senegal, we have colleagues from South Sudan, others here in headquarters, but also specifically Timor East, Lebanon, and the different places as represented here today. Cyril, Agnes, Carlos, Nancy, Karishna, and Gabriela. Thank you very much, Your Holiness, and we welcome you. Yes. Your Holiness, this is essentially an audience with you and the staff that we see now represented us here on this virtual setting. Your message and encouragement to the work that they do in the field will be most highly appreciated, and your blessings to the work that we do. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and perhaps good evening to all of you spread around the world. Very happy to be here today to share this brief moment with representatives from the different member nations that are part of the World Food Program, but also with each one of you who represent so many people that are out in the field doing the difficult task of the fight against hunger. I don't know if it's appropriate if I could ask maybe 2 or 3 of you to say a word about where you are and what the most difficult challenges are, because in that way I too will be able to hear part of the reality of what it means to fight against hunger. I know that many of you literally risk your lives to be in the places where you're working. And I want certainly to assure all of you the prayers and support of the worldwide community, in a special way of the Catholic Church, which is oftentimes a partner in collaboration with the programs that you oversee, that you work in. The work of delivering the aid to those who are most in need is oftentimes, of course, a great challenge. But perhaps to hear firsthand a few of the experiences would also be something that would assist each and every one of us who are here this morning in Rome to understand a little bit better from close up the kinds of challenges that you face.
Your Holiness, thank you very much. Carlos speak in Spanish, of course. We'll take just very briefly your experiences, Carlos, and we'll also take from Cyril. From Nancy, so that we balance it as well. So Carlos, please, very briefly. Thank you.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Carlos Montoya, desde Venezuela.
As we're hearing
Santiago,
Carlos,
muchas
one of the
gracias por
representatives
este
from
momento y
Venezuela,
de verdad que una ocasión muy especial para todos nosotros.
saying it is such a special
En
occasion to be able
Venezuela
to
estamos
be there
trabajando
with
desde
Pope
el
Leo.
estado del Tamacuro, en Tucupita. Ya 4 años aquí y ahí vamos, colaborando y apoyando mucho a las personas vulnerables.
He has been 4 years working in Venezuela to support the vulnerable people in the country.
Nancy, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm called Nancy KG from South Sudan. Yeah, I'm representing female drivers. I'm one of the driver in country office, Juba, South Sudan. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Your Holiness, it is really a pleasure because without the drivers and the work that we do, we cannot access communities, and just grateful that Nancy represents that community that really help us reach in most places where we work. So thank you very much, Your Holiness, and thank you, Nancy. Your Holiness, could we take one more, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. Cyril, I mentioned your name earlier, please, so please take the floor. Thank you.
Yes, Your Holiness, good afternoon. So we're here in Lebanon, where we don't have stability. We don't know whether we're in war, in ceasefire, we're in peace. We join convoys to deliver assistance to the hard-to-reach areas. We're always making sure not to leave anyone behind. We go to all over the south, during the ceasefire, during the war, always being present next to our families, next to our people, just assisting everyone. This is the main challenge we have, the instability we're dealing with. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Cyril. Thank you for the mission that you are carrying out in Lebanon. One of the things that I think people oftentimes don't realize is the cyclical progression that brings many parts of the world into greater and greater difficulty, in that hunger oftentimes is a cause of conflict, and conflict causes more hunger. And so we continue to go around in a circle, as I'm sure some of you, if not all of you, have seen in the work you're doing. Oftentimes the crisis which is affecting the whole world in the area of migration is also the result of extreme hunger and conflict that forces people to leave their homes, which they don't do because they want to, they do because they have to in order to survive. And so the work of each one of you, of all of you together, of the World Food Program, and what we are trying to certainly support and promote is extremely important, because together we're not only doing the immediate aid, which is of course vital, of providing food to the hungry, but we're also challenged to look at what the root causes are of hunger in the different areas where you are working, and to reach out there and to try and find solutions to those problems. The world today could live without hunger. The resources should be available. The capacity of food production exists, and yet oftentimes the resources are spent on promoting war and conflict and other kinds of, if you will, less important end results, and so that the hunger continues even to increase in some parts of the world. You are all on the ground in the front lines, and it's because of you that the work of the World Food Program can be carried out. So I want to thank each and every one of you and all the people that you represent. I want to encourage you in your work, because it is so important that there be people who assist the World Food Program in the delivery of this aid to so many people who are in need. So thank you for what you're doing. May God bless you all, and may you continue to carry on, you and your colleagues. Please communicate my message to those that you work with, and may God bless you always in this very, very important labor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness. Thank you, and that marks the end for this segment, Your Holiness. Thank you very much indeed.
And there again, just Pope Leo speaking to 6 members of the representative nations who partake in the World Food programs and services in different parts of the world, as we heard from 3 there, Venezuela, South Sudan, and in Lebanon, the work they provide, the challenges they face, and the mission that they continue to carry out for vulnerable people, specifically those who are living with hunger each and every day, and the Pope's response and message to them to continue in this difficult work, but important work, and the Pope also mentioning that hunger should be tackled based on the food production we have, but oftentimes other things are placed ahead of providing food, one of the most basic human rights. And now we see Pope Leo actually visiting a unique installation that was dedicated specifically for this visit, which has bowls and plates from communities facing hunger across the world, which represent a visual call to action on the scale of today's food crises.
Faced acute food insecurity. Each bowl that you see here and the plate belongs to a real household that carries the memory, the tradition, and identity of the community it came from. For an audience encountering WFP's work for the first time, this installation here adds something the report cannot, a direct physical encounter with the people behind the data that we see. This is about giving. It's about dignity, it's about identity, and it's about hope. A bowl is never just a bowl. It carries food, it carries memory, it carries tradition and belonging. So it's about protecting dignity, it's about preserving that identity, and it's about creating that hope. The objects that you see here, Your Holiness, are sourced directly from communities that we support, that's WFP serving, and rather than just staged for the occasion, it's an authenticity that fits the visit grounded in moral witness, and rather than technical briefing. So why now, Your Holiness? Your speech was really compelling a moment ago. Several contributing countries connect directly to the places where we work. The Holy Father, your name?
So as we hear, these bowls and plates have been contributed from communities across Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Latin America, including Bangladesh, Nepal, Egypt, Syria, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Somalia, Guatemala, and Honduras, spanning different regions and areas of the world affected by conflict, displacement, climate shocks, and economic crisis. And so when people come, as we see, for those of you who have images, people will encounter 5 themed stations, each being paired with an object with a short reflection. So the different themes are dignity, there's a bowl filled, identity, a story shared, community, a table gathered, resilience, a future sustained, hope, a future imagined.
Not just for those lucky enough to be in Rome today.
And as we heard, the installation called A Place at the Table is also meant to serve as a striking visual counterpart to the latest data that has been released on acute hunger that millions of people face around the world. And now as we see Pope Leo is greeting some of the people who have gathered outside the headquarters of the World Food Health Program to greet him.
wish for the future is to have peace in the whole wide world. I pray for your health and God bless. Bye.
And now we hear and see a video of children
Hello,
greeting Pope Leo.
When I finish my study, I want to become a lawyer, and I hope South Sudanese will understand that disabilities are not inability. Hola, desde Perú. Y yo cuando sea grande.
When I grow up, I want to be an accountant. Why? Because my mom says I am a little better at counting than my classmates.
Buenos días, señor Papa.
Good morning, Mr. Pope. When I grow up, I want to become a teacher. In the future, I would like this world to be better and healthier.
Ciao.
And now Pope Leo is in the Peace Garden at the World Food Program headquarters, which is a plant-filled courtyard featuring a reflection pool and 5 olive trees representing the WFP's global
Your
regions.
Holiness, before you speak, I want to take a moment to introduce you to the people here and to the thousands more watching and listening from every corner of the world. This is the World Food Program family, all of them. Thank you. I've stood side by side with WFP staff in Sudan and Gaza, in Somalia, in Syria, in Congo and Haiti and more. They are in places most people have never heard of and in places the rest of the world has turned away from. They go where others cannot or will not go. They cross front lines. They navigate checkpoints. They work in the middle of active conflicts in extreme heat and extreme cold, often with limited resources and enormous odds against them. And they do it every single day. Too many have made the ultimate sacrifice in service. We carry them with us, always, as a reminder of just how serious this mission is and how seriously WFP teams take it. They are not just aid workers. They are mothers and fathers, sons and daughters who have chosen to give their lives to something larger than themselves. They have chosen to stand with the hungry, the displaced, the forgotten. They show up with food, with dignity, and with hope when the world is at its worst and threatens to extinguish all three. I'm proud to have led them. I am in awe of them, and I believe without any hesitation that they are the best humanitarian team on the face of the earth. Thank you.
My dear friends, good morning, good afternoon to all of you, to all those who are following online. I am sincerely honored to be in your presence, and so many of you representing workers of the World Food Program who give their lives in a special mission throughout the world. And as Mrs. McCain was just saying, including in places that some people have never heard of, on the front lines, in areas where literally they have to risk their lives in order to make sure that food supplies reach the most needy. And that indeed is a great mission because it's a way of recognizing the human dignity, the very God-given dignity that every person on the face of this earth deserves. So thank you so much for your service. As I was coming out here, walking through the garden, there were a number of different values and goals of the World Food Program that were represented there. And I would just like to underline 2 words as I share these brief moments with you. One of them is the word community. It's a word that personally is very dear to my life, and it's something which I think in today's world is ever more important as we live in a world that is polarized, divided, affected by so many conflicts and wars, where the destruction of human relationships continues because of so many different reasons, including technology. Instead of technology helping us to make a better world in which to live, it's oftentimes being used as a method of war, destruction, and death. And so the work that you do, and perhaps even more than the work you do, the spirit that you share as you all work together in building a community and reaching out to those communities that are in need, is indeed a special gift. And I'd like to encourage all of you to reflect upon your own role in being family. Mrs. McCain used that word also, the family that all of you represent, but of building up community throughout the world, that you and your work and your service will indeed be a way of helping people to come together, to be united, and together to work together to solve the problems that cause hunger and to look for ways to create a more just world. And the other word, the last one I saw coming out, was the word hope. You represent, in a very real way, hope for the world. And that is a mission which I think we all share and which we all look toward as part of our mission, whether the Catholic Church, those of us who are believers, those who work together because they believe in the human dignity of all. But we say we want to build up a world where there is hope for the future. So many times we read about young people who no longer have hope. Young people who, because of the difficulties in their lives, and not necessarily in the poorest parts of the world, but where they've lost a vision and a sense in their lives, they've lost that capacity to look to the future and say, this is worth doing, this is worth giving my life for, this is worth coming together and seeking a way to move forward. You represent hope. And the work that you do in reaching out, especially to the neediest, is absolutely a sign of hope, a concrete expression of the hope that we all are searching for. So I thank you for that. I want to assure you all of my prayers for your work, your mission, for all those who work in the World Food Program. And may all of you be strengthened and protected in carrying out that mission, because food for the world is something that we all wish to offer. Food for the world in the sense of something to eat each and every day, but food which gives hope to build a better world, a world of peace, a world in which we are all truly united. God bless you all, and thank you very much.
Your Holiness, Your Holiness, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your words, your presence here today is really a gift to us. It means a lot. It's really a boost in a time when we are confronting many challenges out there in the world. Su Santidad, permíteme unas palabras en español también, porque sabemos.
And the acting executive director, Mr. Carl Scow, is also speaking and greeting Pope Leo in Spanish. We know that you've spent much time in Latin America, also with the indigenous communities, and these communities have a special place in your heart, Your Holiness. And it's for this that we want to give you this gift from the women in Bolivia, who want to give you this gift that they have handmade.
As a token of our gratitude, we would like to present to you a gift on behalf of all WFP staff around the world. These are handmade baskets and bowls by indigenous Guarani women in Bolivia. When drought took their crops, these women, with the support of WFP, turned to weaving to feed their family, but also to protect and keep traditions alive. And today, we offer these gifts to you as a symbol of what we really share: solidarity with communities in need and resilience that carries us towards a world where no one goes hungry. Your Holiness, I now invite you to also meet with our brilliant, great staff here at WFP. And thank you again.
And again, in Pope Leo's address to the other staff members and families of WFP, encouraging them on their challenging but very important mission that they enact every day, both in Rome and around the world, in the offices they have around the world, reminding them of their mission to community and the hope that they provide for people, in addition to the physical aid and support they offer through food, supplies, and other aid. And now Pope Leo again taking a few moments just to greet some of the people around the Garden of Peace at the WFP headquarters.
Your Highness, my client with my guide dog here. Okay. Here in the sky. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Argentina, muy bien. This way. Okay. That's fine. Sure.
And again, thinking back to the address that Pope Leo gave to the representatives gathered in the auditorium at the headquarters, the Pope pointed out a twofold dynamic which creates a serious ethical challenge, looking at the human person that is no longer consistently placed at the center of an international action. And he said in this context, it is important to acknowledge that whereas forms of aid and development projects are obstructed by involved and incomprehensible political decisions, skewed ideological visions, and impenetrable custom barriers, weaponry is not. And he said, in the end, conflicts are fed more readily than people are nourished. And obviously this is a problem when we do not place the human person at the center of our lives and at the focus of international action.
¡Viva el Papa!
Grazie, grazie.
As Pope Leo continues to greet families and staff members of WFP, in his speech he also pointed out the importance of resisting the commodification of basic human needs. Food, water, and healthcare, he said, cannot be subordinated to market considerations or geopolitical interests, because access to adequate food is a fundamental human right grounded in the dignity of every individual single person. He said meeting this need not only alleviates suffering, but also addresses underlying causes of geopolitical instability. Food security, Pope Leo stressed, is an essential component of global and integral security.
Bene, bene. Grazie a voi. Grazie.
Fermi con le mani, fermi, non spingete. Non spingete. Please. Don't press.
This side.
Just as we saw the acting director give Pope Leo the presentation of a number of bowls handmade by indigenous women in Bolivia. It ties in especially well with the unique installation that was installed, as we saw, for the Pope's visit, which had bowls and plates from communities facing hunger around the world. And again, this installation is called A Place at the Table. And it carries memory, tradition, and the identity of people who use the bowls and plates daily, transforming an everyday object of survival into a powerful symbol of the global hunger crisis that World Food Program and other organizations around the world are working daily to combat and to provide food and basic needs to the millions that are lacking.
Oddio, papà Leone, oddio, non ci credo, che bello! Oddio, che fantastico!
Bene, auguri a voi, grazie, grazie a tutti.
Maria Marina, a me la foto al Papa, semplice.
Ecco,
Vedi, ci lascia vedere.
So the World Food Program employs over 20,000 people around the world, again dedicated to ending malnutrition, supporting smallholder farmers, building resilience, providing school meals, fighting climate action. And so their work extends to a number of sectors around the world in helping people who are vulnerable and in need with the basics that every human person is endowed as God-given human dignity.
Ah, sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Muchísimas gracias.
And with those words and those images, this marks the end of our live broadcast of Pope Leo's visit to the headquarters of the World Food Program in Rome ahead of the annual session of the WFP Executive Board. So to look back at this or any other event, please visit the Vatican News website, Facebook, Instagram, X, or YouTube accounts. My name is Kelsey Gussie, and it has been my pleasure providing the English commentary and translations for you today. On behalf of Vatican Media, we would like to thank our sound engineer, Alberto Giovanetti, and our audio coordinator, Alessandro Di Carolis, our media partners, EWTN TV, Shekinah News India, Catholic Faith Network in America, Salt and Light TV, Shalom World Television Networks USA, Admiration TV, and Catholic TV, who made this broadcast possible. And of course, a special thanks to all of you for tuning in. Until next time, Laudetur Jesus Christus, praised be Jesus Christ.
Important.